This video is very not safe for work. We will give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds to close it out and watch it somewhere else. But a massive, huge lawsuit is coming up in Nevada that alleges that sex trafficking in the legalized brothel system we have over here is a huge problem. And if it is what they say it is, it looks like this might be ingrained into our government with corruption. And we have to look at this story. This video is not monetized, so this is bordering on what I can't put on YouTube whatsoever, but it is a current event. And if I answer them and tell them I'm not monetizing and it is sensitive topics, I should be fine. I have other videos like this on Patreon. So if you do want to support the channel, head on over to patreon.com/notleavinglasvegas, where you can see other videos that I started talking about earlier this month like this and other content. It's a way to support the channel when I can't monetize things like this. It really helps out. If you guys want to support the channel further, my name, by the way, is Steven, and I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. So throw us a like, share, and a subscription, and leave us a comment below. What do you think about this lawsuit? Do you support a woman's right to do whatever she wants in her body, with her body, even after you read this? Do you think it's a bad idea? Should we end this practice? Is it just too much now for the modern day we live in? Leave us that comment. Also, check out our channel sponsor, P9 Magazine, over at Resorts World. They buy the billboard one week out of every month of the entire year. Awesome, huge channel sponsor for us. They're on Instagram. They have pinup models for the guys. They have beautiful apparel for the ladies. They also have Filipino stuff for the Filipinos out there. And we also have VegasFaceMask.com, no S at the end. The only two you'll ever need if you need a mask. Don't buy sucky masks that you're going to just throw on the ground and by accident half the time. I know you wouldn't litter, but these ones here, they're reusable. They don't have nose wire. They go around the back of your head. My wife makes them by hand. VegasFaceMask.com. And yes, I'm wearing a family Christmas, Griswold family Christmas shirt because I can fit into it because the diet's going well. All right, lawsuit aims to end prostitution in Nevada. We're going to go over this story. We're going to read it and see what it's really all about. This could be the start of something big. This could be nothing at all. There's already been action on this and it was dismissed. So could be going nowhere, but this is pretty gangbusters what they're saying. So it says 2 women who claim they were forced into sex trafficking filed in a federal lawsuit Monday against Nevada officials and others. Okay, including a Nye County brothel and imprisoned pimp over state's lax prostitution laws. It's just funny to say the word pimp. I don't know. Angela Delgado Williams, a Texas woman at the center of a previous federal complaint, and an unidentified California woman alleged the lawsuit aimed at ending sex trafficking in the state that for years officials have illegally protected the sex trade and enabled sex slavery for years. So they're claiming, and we'll read on further, that for years they've known about this. Now, there are a couple of rules on how this works in Nevada. I talked about this on Patreon. You can go check that video out if you sign up and support us there. It is a separate video that I really can't talk about on YouTube because it's a very sensitive topic. But what this alleges is that, see, Nevada prostitution, it's not legal in Las Vegas or Reno. So Clark County, Washoe County. The way the state law works is that they say how many people are in the county where you live. And if there's too many people, it's not legal there. And so there's only a few places that it's not legal. The rest of the rural part of Nevada, and Nevada is mostly ranch country and all that stuff, it's very, very legal. And women go into it, and it's always assumed that they go into it on their own accord. This says differently. This damningly says differently. And I'm going to get into some stuff here. But they get tested. You know, they're licensed with the state. This is what they do. They pay their taxes. And these operators of these ranch houses, as they're called, or the chicken house or the chicken ranch or whatever it's called, you know, they pay their taxes, they give their tax revenues, they get their revenues, and it goes to the state. So it's axiomatic that the right to be free from slavery is among the most basic human rights, uncontested in international law and enshrined in the United States Constitution at significant cost, states the complaint filed by the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, along with lawyers from Reno and Washington. Yet it is a right numerous women and girls are denied in Nevada, where they are bought and sold in a glamorized, lucrative monument to the male sexual entitlement, the state's prostitution industrial complex. So they're claiming that this is a cronyism, an old boys club, and it's been happening for a very long time. Williams and the California woman identified in the suit as Jane Doe allege that because of legal prostitution in rural Nevada counties, they were forced into sex acts through fraud and coercion, including psychological manipulation and debt bondage. So what they're alleging is like you owe money to somebody and you can't pay that money off. Now you're going to go work in Nevada and it's going to look like you're doing your thing on your own, but you're not doing your thing on your own. You're basically doing it because you owe us money. And that's what this is all about. Or psychological manipulation, and they get tricked into doing it, or fraud or coercion, fraud or coercion. You're just going to go out there and have some drinks with the guy, or you're going to be an escort. You're going to have dinner with somebody. And before you know it, there's way more after that dinner that you didn't expect. And you get threatened, forced, frauded into it, and now you're working in this industry and you can't escape. Nevada, quote, which in turn failed to enforce or violated state and federal laws against prostitution advertising, debt bondage, and sex trafficking, has allowed sex traffickers to operate in Nevada with impunity. So they do advertise these things in Las Vegas on the Strip. There are boxes that are set up on the Strip. They're not really on the main Strip, though. They're off of the little side roads that go to like a convention center drive, for example, or you might see them when you're walking off the Strip down on East Flamingo. There are boxes where they advertise this stuff, and you can pull out a flyer, and that advertises the places in Pahrump, for example, the closest place to Vegas. We'll get to that in a second. In October 2019, a federal judge in Nevada dismissed a previous lawsuit filed by Williams, the same person, and 2 other women who were not named in Monday's complaint, after finding that the harm the women suffered was not a function of the state's prostitution laws. So that judge back in 2019 said, well, you had a lot of harm done to you, but it wasn't the fault of the state's laws. This was the fault of other people, other circumstances, maybe even yourself. That's what the judge apparently said back then. In that decision, the judge found empathy with the women, but also said that they had been forced to perform sex acts in other states. So the judge basically said, hey, this wasn't a Nevada problem. This was another state problem. You had the same problem in other areas, so you can't directly blame the state of Nevada. Williams alleges that she was forced into what amounted to sex slavery by Jamal Rashid, the ostracized former hip-hop producer Mary Mal. So I guess Jamal Rashid was Mally Mal, who was sentenced earlier this year to 33 months in federal prison for owning and operating a prostitution business. So she's taking another run at it, it seems. He's now in jail for what he did. And so she can say to the courts, or to the judge this time, yeah, but look what he's currently serving time for. The court system has already said that he's done bad, and he is paying his sentence. He's living through a sentence now. Several companies named in the suit received revenue and engaged in profit sharing with Rashid's escort companies for 12 years, according to a complaint and other records. Nevada officials cooperated with Rashid and his companies and brothels and others to maintain and profit from a legalized system of prostitution, the suit alleges. There it is. That is the big deal in this case. This is this case saying, okay, he's been through the court system. He's in prison now. What he did for 12 years directly had correlation with Nevada officials cooperating with him and his companies and the brothels to, as they say in the complaint, maintain and profit from a legalized system of prostitution. So they're saying that people in the state knew about this, people working in these brothels knew about this. This could be big if it gets to that point. Sometimes these things don't go anywhere. We'll see where this one goes. Benjamin Bull, general counsel for the exploitation group, told the Las Vegas Review-Journal that Nevada's treatment of sex trafficking was rotten to the core, when exposed to public scrutiny, cannot be defended. So he's saying if we bring all the dirty laundry out, nobody's going to be able to defend this. This is a horrible thing. The suit alleges that more than 1/3 of roughly $14 million in revenue generated from illegal prostitution in the United States was collected in Las Vegas. That's another big one. Remember at the start of this video I said, this is not something that you're supposed to do in the city of Las Vegas. This is something that's supposed to be outside in different counties, at least, 45 minutes to an hour away, as they call it, over the hump in Pahrump. I'm going to have to retire my I'm very well known in Pahrump shirt. It's a ironic, goofy shirt, but it doesn't seem right now. So this is not something that's supposed to happen in Vegas, but they're saying it's collected directly in the city of Las Vegas, which means that people know it's happening, but nobody's doing anything about it. The suit alleges, okay, as we said, citing the 2021 report, legal brothels generated $75 million a year in Nevada, which in turn collects 9% in tax revenue. So they're making money. The state makes money. It goes to help roads and schools and all that kind of stuff. Media relations for Governor Steve Sisolak, Attorney General Aaron Ford, Las Vegas and Clark County declined to comment. Of course they did, because of legal counsel. They have to basically look at everything that the people are saying, and when it goes to court, I'm not a legal eagle. I'm not a lawyer. But when it goes to court and somebody presents evidence against you, you have a right to see the complaint against you. And then you can mount your defense on it. They're not going to say anything right now. A Nye County spokesman could not be immediately reached, and a woman who answered the phone at the chicken ranch said the business would not comment on the lawsuit. Same reasons there. The FBI began investigating Rashid in 2014 and found that he, quote, persuaded, induced, enticed, and caused hundreds of women to engage in prostitution across state lines. Rashid pleaded guilty in 2019 to one count of use of an interstate facility in the aid of an unlawful activity. Nevada's legal prostitution system has inherently contributed to sex trafficking of these plaintiffs for both the benefit of sex buyers who flock to Nevada and for the profit of Nevada and its tourism industry. Christian Price, senior legal counsel at the National Center of Exploitation, said in a news release about the lawsuit. The plaintiffs were subjected to violence, threats, and other forms of control by sex trade profiteers, which is precisely what the 13th Amendment forbids. Ultimately, those Nevada defendants must be held accountable for enabling this abuse. An effort to reach the Nevada Brothel Association on Monday was not successful. So what does this all mean? That's the question, right? So where are we with all this? This means that there's going to be an investigation. This means that there's going to be, there's lawyers, there's private investigators, there's people that are looking into all of this. If it turns out that there was this guy, Rashid, I almost said gentleman, but I won't give him that respect. If this guy, Rashid, did participate and everybody knew this was happening and people in the state knew it was happening, and if all that revenue was collected in the city of Las Vegas, there's a bigger problem on people's hands. There's a bigger problem because it's a problem that people knew about that they failed to take any action on. Now, this is a pretty big lawsuit, and they did wait until they had everything set up on the other side. When he's in prison, they can look at that case. And what judges will oftentimes do is they'll look at the rulings on past cases, previous cases, where they say, well, the last time something like this happened, the judge ruled that it was a nothing burger, as they say in the news sometimes. But this is not a nothing burger because he's in prison. So there will be a full investigation, I suppose. This is stuff that usually I would put on my PayPal or my Patreon, and I would not post here. But this is a big deal. This could end a big industry in Vegas that women have been working with for a very long time. We're the only state in the entire nation that allows this. Some places around the world allow this. This is the one place in America that does. This could redraw the lines for this forever, put an industry out of business. I'm curious to know your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what you think about this. Is this something that you think that should be stopped? Is this something that you think should continue? Tell me and be respectful in those comments. If you guys want to help this video, consider Patreon because this one goes completely unmonetized. Also consider going over to vegasfacemask.com, checking that out, and also consider going over to P9 Magazine and saying hi to them on Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, I am growing my Instagram, putting up more content all the time. Little things I don't post on YouTube because they're really not YouTube type things. You might like my content over there. Check it out. All the links are in the first comment of this video and in the description of this video. So that's my video today, and I didn't give you much opinion because this is not something that I can make an opinion on. Look, I'm not a woman, obviously. I don't know what women should do, what women want to do with themselves. Women are empowered, they're smart, they're intelligent, they're going to go do what's right for them. I'm sure there's women that have worked in this industry and gone on to build great businesses for themselves with the proceeds that they made. And I'm sure that there is horror stories working in this business too. And my heart breaks for those kinds of people that had those kinds of problems. But, that's why we're just reading you the news today and kind of dissecting it and analyzing it. I'm curious what you think. That's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. We look at the camera. We say 3, 2, 1, and click.